Mm. Hold on.
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. How about yourself?
Dude, I'm having such a great fucking day.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
made
man.
it back to Ohio. Not too cold up here right now, so I'm
Oh,
happy about that.
good.
Yeah. Um, yeah, how do these usually go? Is it kind of you run them and we just kind of
So just
just
so you know,
your
I'm never on these.
Oh,
Uh,
really? Nice.
yeah, yeah. So this is gonna be cool for everybody. Me, you, the audience. Um, it's really just kind of gonna be me and you talking.
Yeah.
Uh, I want to bring up, they're not gonna like it very much, but I want to bring up the client that was using Land ID and paying $5,000 a month, or $5,000 a year to them. And I was like, hey, use Land Portal. I do want to talk to you about the approach. My goal is to be like, sign up for the $99 package, get your data from us. But know your filters and know how many records. So you sign up for the 99 package, plug all your filters in there, nerd out on the filters, get the list right. Then take a screenshot of that exact criteria and send that to us. Let us pull
Mm.
it for you because and I'm not going to use the word cheaper. I'm going to use the word included. It's included with my service. So there's no need to double dip or anything like that. It's just included in there. Um, and then and my goal is to teach them to use, there's sort of like 20 people in the waiting room.
Yeah.
My goal is to teach them to and then use it for the analysis, the comps, use all the tools out of it.
Yeah. Can I show you something real fast? I'm gonna send a request real fast.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the due diligence aspect, if we can just get people signed up, like everything else, they're gonna stay on it, which is awesome.
yeah.
Let me show you something. This is actually releasing, and this will be cool. Like I haven't shown that. I've shown this to single people. I've never shown this to a
To
group.
a group, yeah, yeah.
So this is obviously a homepage. This is what it's going to be on Thursday, and we actually added. This is Google Maps now, so it's going to be much more updated, and you can actually drop your little person on here now and get Street View on here, which is going to be sick for just reviewing deals, everything like that. Which people that we are the only software that does anything like this. No one connects to Google Maps because how expensive it is. But
Right.
you can see the difference, just quality when you go back to like what it is currently. Let's see if
Yeah.
that works. It's being updated right now. But yeah, the quality, the updated imagery is going to be very helpful for everybody. So
Next up.
yeah, I want to double down on the due diligence stuff. I think they'll be
Yeah.
really good because you're obviously using our data.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's kind of my thing. How do we save them money? How do we take money they're probably already spending or about to spend and show them to point it in the right direction?
Hmm.
Basically, our superhero team up, right,
I
is
love
kind
it.
of the thing. And I'm gonna go live on Facebook right now, okay, too, all at the same time. All right.
Awesome.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
I'm gonna let everyone in. Go live. I even got a haircut for this, bro. This does
I
not happen
love it.
very
I
often.
went to a barber down there. What's it called? Shoot, I forget. But yeah, they're good. There's a lot of good ones down there.
Yeah, dude, we are covered in barbershops.
It's a
We
lot.
are. We are. Everyone wants to look good in St. Pete and Tampa. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the party. Welcome party. How you guys all doing today? We got a bunch of people still rolling in. I'm so excited to be on this call today. You guys know normally I don't host these, Francisco does. But we are giving you a special guest today. I've got one of the Apke brothers here with us. Ron's here, and he is one of the owners of Land Portal. And we are going to focus on how lead mining and Land Portal team up to make you guys more money in your business and even save you guys some money as well. So thank you everyone for jumping on. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Overall, Ron and I here are going to have a candid conversation. As the founder of Land Portal, we actually use them. You guys probably know that. If you make a land order with us, we actually use their data through and through. And it's just undeniably the best. It has the most filters. It's the most accurate. We are blowing up here. They're coming in by the bushels. Um, and it's been awesome for us to utilize. A lot of clients call us and they go, "Hey, I only want special." I just had a client the other day had no idea that this power even existed. Nick, the last list we kind of just pulled everything, but on this one we kind of want ones with only road frontage and stuff. Do you know how to get that? I'm like, "Man, I've got great news. Land Portal offers that to you." I think he even signed up as soon as the call ended. But so a lot of cool features to help save you guys time when looking for the right prospects. That's one of the main features, but it has a bunch of other features as well. So we actually use their comping tool inside of there. And so what we're going to do today, Ron and I are going to talk. Ron, if you wouldn't mind maybe getting a screen share or at some point screen sharing, showing maybe some of the filters so they could
Yep.
see it live. We could show a comp report as well. I've got a couple in my account if you don't have any handy. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, that'll be the kind of goal. We'll kind of do a show and tell here.
Awesome. I'm excited for it. You want me to share my screen now?
Yeah, well, let's actually talk for a minute
Yeah.
and we'll give them the run. Let me get us pinned up here. I'm new to all this. Look at us. Look at us. Now we're on stage. We're so lucky. But bro, thank you so much for joining us. We've been working together, I feel like for at least over a year now. And I've been, I believe, in your brother's DMs for the last 5 years, hoping to get you guys to work with me. I'll never forget when he finally replied. I felt like kind of a big deal after 600 messages. Uh, but um, but anyways, I'm glad to have you here. So you guys created Land Porter. Just tell me about the creation of that real quick. I actually don't know, but tell me about where this came from.
Yeah, I mean, we probably started developing maybe 3.5 years ago. The idea came about just because there's so many softwares out there that weren't land focused. Like we were in land for a long time before this.
Yeah.
We did a lot of deals in rural Kentucky, rural Alabama, where data was to be nice about it. Data wasn't great. We were sending so much mail to landlocked properties, to properties that had houses on it, and that's where it started was like the tools available were not good enough for our business. So that's when we really started. We had a lot of people who were interested in something like this. We had no idea we could make it what it is today. Obviously, a lot of development work, and our biggest thing is like customer feedback is how we grow and how we make adjustments. But yeah, that's really how it started, Nick, is there was a demand for it for sure, for a real product that had heavy investment in developing it, which we did to make it as good as possible for the customers. And it's like I just did a presentation with someone who did a YouTube video on it for like a year ago. And I during the thing, I'm like, let me look at your YouTube video. Like, how much different did it look? And it's like night and day. We have
Yeah.
double digit full-time developers. So yeah, we're trying to continually grow it, and just improve the product for everybody.
Well, that's one of my favorite things, and I think this is why we like each other. I think we both have the spirit of feedback, the spirit of innovation. I mean, I've been open for 9 years now, and people be like, "How do you offer so much stuff?" It's like, well, I've been building this house for 9 years. The real question is, how do you not offer all this amazing stuff after that period of time? But it's just kind of like where our heart is. And just to give everyone another example on um, how powerful the software is. I actually had a client of yours call me and she actually didn't understand the filters. And she says, "Nick, I keep pulling property from Land Portal and there's structures on it." And I go, "Oh, do you know how to filter those out?" Right. So when you say you created something that wasn't even there yet, what happens is people are using your software thinking it's like the other softwares, and it's not. It's actually more robust. It's built by a land investor for land investors. So one thing I will say is there's so many filters and they're so beneficial. So I'll give everyone a couple of examples. There's one called property improvement, right? And I put 0 square feet there. I don't want any additional structures built on this piece of land that I'm looking for. So, and then there's another one, I believe that's livable square footage. Well, that one is zero too. I'm looking for vacant land. There shouldn't be any livable square footage. So just to give you guys some ninja tips, man, these filters, they are everything. And don't forget, we pull lists for our customers at Lead Mining for land and for houses. And the number one mistake people make is always in the filtering. Okay, a couple of low hanging fruit I'll just share with you guys while we're on topic. One is it should be individual owned, not corporate owned.
Mm.
Okay, and individual owned means you're getting the one owner. Corporate owned means we don't know who we're getting on the phone. And if it's owned by a business, they're probably going to be less inclined to sell it. Okay, not owned by a person. And then there's years of ownership. A lot of people don't think about that. I like 3 years or greater, but don't leave that number at zero. Okay, don't do that. And so just some filters like that are like really important. That is the difference between spending money on a good list, because then you're going to pull the list, that costs money. Then you're going to call it, text it, and direct mail it. Those filters better be in line. And Ron, why don't you, since I'm rambling about it, why don't you maybe hit us with the screen share, show us what some of these filters are, and then let's talk about how to maybe chisel out the best list for land.
And I'm sure you remember the times, Nick, like before the filters and everything, and just in general, when you used to get leads for client. It's a lot more exciting to give leads to clients now when like there's no bad land. Like what you could do
Mhm.
previous to this is you could get rid of like seller
Yeah.
whatever you want qualities for sellers. Like seller is has owned the property this long, but before this, like you can never filter out anything based on land. It's a lot more exciting getting leads calling you back now. When I first started, like getting leads back, you didn't know what the heck you were getting in terms of was it landlocked, was it this, with at least where we were doing the business.
Right.
But I'm sure you remember those times, Nick, where like leads mean a little bit more now. We just did a podcast talking with you about it. Leads are more valuable now because they're at least good land at minimum.
Well, that's actually interesting that you said that because that is such a great point. In the day when we started in land 4 years ago ourselves, it was, hey, we got 50 leads, only 12 of them meet my actual criteria. And it required my client to do a lot more sifting. They still weren't complaining about 50 leads, but often those other 42 leads were all rabbit holes. Right. They were just, yeah, you could close them, but it's not really in your wheelhouse. You'd have to learn a whole new process, a whole new market. Now we're still probably getting 20 to 35 leads, but they're all within that exact realm of what
Hmm.
you're looking. I never thought of that until now. But anyways, yeah. So show us what that magic looks like
Yeah, let's
to
go
get that out.
map search, and I'm gonna choose again. I think
Can you
anywhere.
zoom in? Can you zoom in just a little bit? Um, I just want some of the on the left here, if it's
Oh, left side. Let
possible.
me give it. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, just to make
There's
it a little
one
bit
more you
bigger.
want?
Yeah, I'll go a little bit more.
You're getting old, Nick.
That's perfect. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's more for everybody else. Not
Um,
for me.
but yeah, so on the left side, you see going from here, state county. Let's just choose. I don't have anywhere in particular. Um, Alabama. Nick, if you want to choose, I mean, if someone wants to put in a state and county, I can do it for that. I'll do it for them and I'll send them the data. If someone's not currently using Land Portal, anyone who's not currently using Land Portal, they want to
Yeah.
put it in the chat.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. The first person to put a location is going to get their list pulled. Port St. Lucie, Florida. Thank you, Brian. Nice. Fast fingers, baby.
There you
Fast
go.
fingers, Brian.
Okay, let's go. This is going to be so a lot of people. I just want to make sure we're on the same page in terms of that because a lot of people, because that's going to be obviously a lot of info lots, and I want to make
Yeah.
sure it's.
Good point.
So that's why I kind of was thinking something a little more rural, to be honest. Let me
Okay.
see.
Got it. Yeah.
If not, I can.
Well, Tarrant County,
Wake
that one's
County. Let's do
also
Wake County,
fine.
North Carolina. Sorry,
Okay.
Neil. Or sorry, that's a good
Brian.
example. I'm
Yeah.
not saying anything will work, honestly, but let's go North Carolina. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Because this is going to have some slope, and I do want counties that can show the filter's power.
Okay.
A lot of good ones. And Shelby County's North Carolina is awesome, Jay. All right, so we're going to go vacant lots. This is the first thing we built. And what most other softwares do, and it sounds like that's crazy, like vacant lot, that's awesome. Like county tells you it's vacant, whatever. County data can be extremely delayed in terms of like the quality of it. This is actually something where some areas in the country, like this is going to remove thousands of more properties. I'm just going to get a hit apply here so we can kind of get a baseline for our results as we get rid of some properties and as I show you the filters. Oh, I didn't do an acreage. I should have done that. It's going to spin here for a second. So what it's literally doing as it's spinning here, guys, is it's looking at satellite imagery for vacant. That's why it takes a little bit of time with the vacant AI button because it's actually looking at satellite imagery to make sure. Pretty much every other software, Nick, I don't know if you know this, is just taking what the county tells them. And if you go rural America and take what the county tells them, it can be such a wide variance in terms of this. I'm going to put in a filter here.
Yeah,
This
no,
can
you're
take a
good.
minute. Oh, there we go. 36,000. So we got 36,000 results. We need to filter down some acreage. Let's go 2 to 20. And this is going to take this quite a bit lower. But I think we can go up to 50,000 results in terms of exporting. That goes down to 7,500, but we're going to
Okay.
see this number go down. Within Land Portal, we have all MLS data overlaid on this. So we can exclude anything that's currently for sale. We're going to exclude sold listings, and this will be
Now
the
hold on.
last.
Hold on. And just because you're a pro, I just want you to slow down because, guys, these features are huge. Exclude active listings. Who cares if you get 30 leads and they're all on the market? Yeah, I mean, it's still a start of a conversation, but it's just one more hurdle. They already have a price in mind. They have a realtor to pay, most likely. Also, there's a bam. We get those guys right out of there. Exclude sold listings. Okay, this is data right from the MLS. Okay, continue. You were just flying, but
Oh,
I
sorry.
actually
No, no,
just
I appreciate that, Nick. No.
no, yeah, well, so and here's the reality. I didn't even know this was in here till 5 months ago, and a customer asked me, and I was like, "Oh my God, this software is like it can take out everything." And I think we can all agree what you don't not having what you don't want is really just as important as having what you do want,
Yep.
right? We can't, we're not, and then I'm charging, I charge per dial, per record, right? Per text message. This also lowers your costs with us as well. Whenever you get in there, now it's not like, well, I'll sort it out, I'll figure it out later. No, it's, hey, these properties, I know at least to a degree are qualified as long as they hit my inbox.
Exactly. So I'm going to keep hitting apply in between these just so we can see this number go down. My goal is to get rid of land that just I didn't want to buy. Some obviously active listings, sold listings. I'd love to be able to buy that, but that took off. I mean, that's over
It's
5%.
like
That's about
500.
seventy
Yeah.
seven
Yeah.
7.5% of our list. It
Yeah.
just narrowed down. So it went from 7,500 down to that. Out of county, out of state. I don't mess with these typically. These are going to get higher, you're just gonna get too low in numbers, Nick. Typically, when
Right.
you like, if you
That's
only
right.
want owners that live outside the state, so this is basically saying no one who lives in North Carolina will be on this list. If I hit out of state owner, yes. I don't mess with those personally. You could do the same thing for out of county. You're gonna get a little higher motivated seller, but your volume is gonna be hurt so bad. I don't mess with those. I don't know what your thoughts on those, Nick, are.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that it's important to maybe know the differences, right? But not to exclude. It is important to go after out of state, but not to exclude in state, if that
Yep.
kind of makes sense. So the way I like to look at lists is if you want to get crazy with the filters, that's fine, but don't overcommit. Take it and just like a science experiment, put it over here, label it, and see how it does, right?
Yep.
But so that's what I would say, and or prioritize it, right? So maybe if we were to get nerdy with it, we prioritize out of state first, second priority is out of county, third priority is all in county, in state, right?
Yep.
And then that way we still have everything, we just have it in chunks. So that is what I would say to do, but I'm with you. Get all the other filters down. And then if you have still thousands and thousands of records, then feel free to play with these. Same as tax delinquent. Tax delinquent is a trap for people. Tax delinquent property, although it's there, those numbers are so low. Closing a deal with only 500 records is really just delaying it. People with land, they don't need to be tax delinquent to want to sell at a discount. They just need to have a piece of land they no longer want.
Mm.
It's as simple as that, and then they'll get rid of it.
Yep, that makes sense. City limits for vacant, if you're trying to do rural deals, I do not mess with city limits properties. And let me just show you real fast. I'll zoom in on these. Obviously, we're going to have a ton of land here. What city is this in the middle? Okay, so this is actually Raleigh. So within Raleigh city limits, you're gonna have more restrictions. I actually don't mind in this big of a city. I don't mind having city limits properties. A lot of times, smaller, more rural. If I'm a couple counties removed from Raleigh, I probably won't have city limits just because our restrictions get really high.
Okay.
Hunting, you can't do a lot of stuff you can't do within city limits.
Yeah. And and can you just, I think you just showed us an accidental feature. I just want you to focus on it real quick. What just pulled up here? Did something say listings pull up here? What
So I
happened
pulled
when
up
you,
list view here. You can actually click this in the top left as well.
okay,
So if
this
you
is
want
a
to go back,
list view.
correct.
Okay, got it. So not only can you view the properties in just by the filter mode, but now we're actually looking almost like a list view, like we're looking through like eBay listings,
Exactly.
and in a way. Got it. So we're actually looking at the properties on an individual basis. Very
Yep.
cool.
All
So
7,000. I think, go ahead.
well, so this means, guys, we have our general list pulling, and then we have our, and I don't recommend getting too nerdy on things, but you could then get in here and view these properties as an individual. It doesn't just exist on the export, right? And I think a lot of other list pulling softwares, it just kind of exists on the export. So, anyways,
Yep.
I think it's pretty cool.
If
I
you want
haven't
to
seen that
combine
before.
two lists, you can combine two lists within here. So you can create a new list and then combine, and then you can save it for whatever it is. You can do a lot of things within there. So this is kind of where the magic happens,
Yeah.
Nick. Is like the land filters. This is where we have AI. We have a lot of different things built into here that's looking at the quality of each parcel. I'm going to start with the most basic one, landlocked. Pretty much no one. Travis King actually is someone I know you guys do stuff with Travis
Yeah.
King. Travis King's someone who like he goes after some landlocked properties.
Got it.
So I'm gonna hit landlocked no. Most people aren't going after landlocked properties. I'm gonna hit apply. We're probably gonna get a decent amount to come off here, which is good. Again, we don't want to target these properties, so let's get rid of them on the front end. So Nick's not calling people. So that got rid of another 1,200,
Wow.
which is
Now,
awesome.
real quick, can you tell me what does not being landlocked mean? That there's a road to the property. Is that what that
It
means?
means there's no access, essentially, no road access. There could be
No
an
legal
easement access, but
access.
yeah, that means no road access, and you'll be able to like we could hit yes and be like, okay, let's look at what landlocked actually means.
Let's see what
And
it
you hit
looks like.
yes, and like, will there be ones with some access hidden in here? But you go in here and they're going to be off the beaten path. They're going to be just, they're not going to be accessible. So, like, do we really want this property in the middle of nowhere? Is that, do you want to waste money on Nicholas Nick? I know he can close a lot of deals, but like, nothing's going to be had with this property. This is not a road right here. This is just literally in the middle of nowhere. So, again, I hit landlocked yes there, and these
Right.
properties just aren't worth anything. Like there's no point in us targeting these properties that are landlocked. They're in the middle of nowhere. So that's why I always like to do landlocked no. Will there be a few properties that are filtered out that might have easements? Yes. But 99% of them are not going to have access.
Oh, okay.
Going to the other things, you can do road frontage, Nick. We do have some people who go after subdivides, go after really specific things. I don't think we're going to really talk about that on that, but this is something to know. Like if you just want 1,000 feet of road frontage, this list is going to get really small here,
Right.
1,400. But you look at
I'm
the
surprised
properties
it's
like,
that big.
yeah,
Still.
I am, I am too. Must be
Yeah.
some long, let me just,
Roads.
where
There's
is
some
it?
long properties.
You have some kind of random, not great with this acreage size too. But if you're going 20 to 50, I'm going to take off these owner names. This is a lot. Yeah, so you can definitely do that. I'm going to take that back off though. The other couple filters, Nick, are there's two, and I don't know how much you use it here. I'm gonna first do FEMA and wetlands. So that's basically
Okay.
saying I don't want over 50% of my property in FEMA flood zone or wetlands. As you know, down in Florida, Nick, wetlands properties aren't great. Flood zone properties can be built on. They're more expensive. They're more tricky. A lot of things go into it. So I'm just gonna say I don't want more
I
than
live on one.
50% of my property in flood
Yeah,
zone.
and what that means is, and I'm asking, even though it's probably self-explanatory, that where the flood zone exists will not take up more than 50% of this property that I own. And then what we're hoping that we build on the non 50% side. Is that
Exactly.
okay? Okay.
Exactly. Will there be some properties that are 49% that might not be great for you? Probably. You can lower that number if you want. What I typically tell people, if you're going real small, like sub acre, like you need this to be almost zero. Like you need this to be like 5%. Because if you only have 1 acre and 50% of it's in a flood zone, like that gets pretty tight pretty fast.
Yeah.
Versus we have 20 acres. I'm fine with 10 acres. Like I can still have a really good piece of land that's 50% in floodplain. I have 10 acres available versus if you're going after real small, you have half an acre available.
Now, real quick, because this is this a range or is this a flat number? How does this work? Is this 50% or less
This will be
above?
50% as the maximum FEMA coverage. And all
Okay,
these things will have
maximum.
explanations on it
Got
in
it.
terms of all these, like as you go over. Anything under 60% covered in FEMA will be included. So that's essentially the 60% example. But yeah, anything that's 0 to 50
Got
will
it.
be in here.
Okay, no worries. I just asking A for myself and B for probably the viewers. So that number is 0 to whatever you stick into that line, right? Got it. Okay,
Correct.
cool.
I'll hit apply. Let's see what this number goes to. I don't know if we'll have a big change here, probably a few hundred, maybe 500 coming off. But again, let's just 700 came off. So we just want to get this lead list or give Nick the filters like where you are giving, obviously Nick's pulling the data for you guys, but where you guys are getting the best possible land or good quality land. The other thing I want to, how much do you use buildability, Nick, if at all?
That depends on the client's needs. I was actually going to address that. I think that's a secret amazing number. And that's why I'm glad you're here to talk to you about it because we just need a certain percent of the lot to be buildable for it to have value, right?
Yep.
I mean, that is kind of what it comes down to. So I had a customer, I work all my lists with my customers. So I have like examples of all these filters, which is cool. He called me up and he wanted this really unique filter system. Like I want FEMA or wetlands, and he wanted all this stuff. And I go, look, you want it to be buildable, right? So I was like, let's drop those filters and let's just have a 50% buildability rate. Okay, or higher, right? Is what I told him. He's like, oh, I love that idea. So that in that case, because I was scared he was gonna over filter, right, with all the filters and then squeeze out some things we didn't want to. So that was the advice I gave him. How do you feel about how I guided him and that
It
use?
matters the acreage range, similar to like the flood zone thing. So if you have 1 acre, you probably want more, maybe 70% of the property to be buildable, maybe 60%. And when we say buildability, guys, it does look at wetlands. The main purpose of the buildability is looking at the slope of the property. We have extremely accurate AI that analyzes every property in terms of its buildability based on the slope. So there's two options to do this is percentage or acres. So we have 2 to 20 acres. I mean, we could do like 20%, but then the 2 acres gets kind of weird because that means only zero point 0.4 is buildable on the two
Sure,
acres.
got it.
What
Yep.
I would probably do is like 1.5 acres, honestly. This is going to be the minimum buildability. So the 20 acres could still be really, really sloped. We're going to get rid of a lot of properties, I
Mm,
think, here. But if you have 1.5 acres, like that's less than 5%, which can be fine. Like a lot of people, Nick, are in
right,
rural America are
right.
looking for 2 acres of buildable land with some hunting land that might not be buildable, but it's really good hunting land behind them.
Well,
So I just
wait,
want
wait,
to
wait.
get rid of the worst of the worst with this.
Right. And I think people also, I'll just give a real life example. I looked up my property the other day and I was like, am I on like 0.28 of an acre? It's like we don't realize how big these, like, I was like, holy crap, like my clients are pulling this to this. And I'm like, I live on a lot smaller than that. And that,
Yep.
that, that kind of blew my mind the other day as well.
I'm going to switch it to 1 acre and I think we'll be fine here. Let's see what happens. It's going to get rid of some sloped small properties and some really, really sloped. It actually got rid of another 20%. We're down. Remember, Nick, we started at 7,500. I have been pretty, I have been pretty conservative in terms
Aggressive.
of
Okay,
getting rid of
conservative.
land, but we
Yeah.
are getting rid of the worst of the worst. I just want to show you guys real fast. This looks like to me what is probably the most sloped area. So I'm going to just zoom in here so I can kind of show you guys what it's actually getting rid of. So here you have a neighborhood here. Let me see if there's any more vacant lots within here. But what the buildability does, I'm just going to click into this parcel. What the buildability does is it looks at essentially the slope. A lot of people who do buildability, it looks at the average slope. We have the average slope right here, 10.68. This doesn't mean anything to me. I was looking at a property earlier for someone. It had a 30% average slope, which is like, it's up, it's very, very sloped. But the bottom part was flat. This is the important thing. 2.6 of the acres are flat, they're buildable. If you hit show buildability, it's going to show you
Mm,
on here where the buildable areas are. You can see this flat area. This is a very buildable lot, but you'll actually see this on here. You look at 3D, you'll see what's going on. This is using a lot of AI and it's using a combination of a lot of things to actually see the buildability of the land based on the slope. So that's a good example, I think, right there, Nick. But the
great
buildability is
example.
extremely powerful, especially if you're in sloped areas.
Wow. And like, look at all of this data on the left here. I mean, wow. Guys, take it from a business owner, myself, like to take on data and data aggregation and handling all this stuff, it is a big lift. I mean, he probably thinks what I do is hard with calling and texting, but man, I think what they created here, I always look at another, knowing what I create and how much work it took, I always look at what other people do and I'm like, great job. You know what I mean? I just love all this data that you guys are transparent with.
I'm going to show you one real quick that didn't make the cut. So what you want to do as you're building a list is like look at, and thank you for that, Nick,
Yeah, of course.
is look at like what could I potentially be missing? So here's 2.8 acres. It fits that. Everything fits except the buildability on this property. And if you look down, 21% of the property is buildable or zero point 0.6 acres. And like, okay, maybe I do want to keep things like this. Like it makes a lot of sense to have a property like this. So you can adjust your filters as you're going through. It's kind of a plug and play. And one thing I always like to show people, and this is not a guarantee that this is going to work, Nick. I mean, I'm very confident in the buildability, but the buildability does not look at houses. It looks at the land. So here we have a house right
Right.
here. I'm going to hope it overlaps. So yeah, it overlaps really well. But you go to sloped areas with houses on it. You click the buildability. It's like this is really freaking accurate because it
Yeah,
almost always overlaps with the house.
that's amazing.
That's the core of the. I know you said corporations. You want to get rid of those as well, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so we're gonna go
Get
no
rid of them.
corporations,
No
and you can
corporate.
also. I don't know how much. Do you guys have a list of words you exclude?
That depends
I
on the
guess
client.
corporations get rid of a lot of it though.
Yeah, 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 we basically we don't exclude unless a client requests it.
So that's down to 1,200. Is that pretty normal there?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So we got
Yep.
that list from 7,500. For us, we do for some of our business. There's times we go for corporate owned. There's times when we don't. But yeah, this is a very, very targeted list of potentials. Like you'll find a way to get me. You'll get me 20 leads from this list, right, Nick?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. At least they have 1,200 records. This is about a bazooka package, which is
Yep.
about 20 to 60, somewhere in there. Yep.
20 to 60 leads. Yeah. I mean, this is
Yeah.
a extremely targeted list. It's good land within here. I think we did a good job filtering out bad land. You can go through, like Nick said, like you can go through and look, like see what's going on, see if there's anything missing, see if you want to make any adjustments on it. But I'm telling you, like the way we built this list is going to be very effective.
Okay, so show us something real quick. If you can, show us what a comp looks like on one of these pieces
Comp
of land.
report.
Yeah.
All right, let's just zoom in and I'll show you. I'm going to do a little bit bigger of a parcel. Let's.
Guys, I offer these comps at lead mining for $10 a pop. Okay. But you guys can just sign up for Land Portal yourself and I'll have them pull up our pricing page after this as well.
So
So
I'll show you
get an
just
idea.
all the filters on this left side. So due
Okay.
diligence, we talked about this before, Nick, is obviously a big part. And one of the coolest things about doing due diligence on here, contour lines, all this stuff, like I showed you before, 3D. One of the coolest things about doing due diligence, or one of the advantages are like all the data is all of it's in your data as well. Wetlands is in your data, FEMA is in your data, all the slope
Right.
data is in your data, buildability this will be in your data as well, the estimated price of the land. But what I'll do, I'll pull up the AI comp report
I love these guys. Wait till you see this. This is
and
awesome.
let's open link in new tab. And if there's MLS details, it will be shown here. You'll see pictures, you'll see history, everything like that. But let's pull up our comp report as it's loading.
It's done already.
Actually, I'll show you something else, Nick, that you might not have seen. And every time I'm doing one of these calls, Nick, I'll find out something about the software that I didn't know. Like, oh, this release is really cool. Literally every single time. But top of comp reports just going to give a lot of land information. There's some people who will send this stuff to realtors cut
Hmm.
out the bottom stuff. Some of these we have one client who actually will send this top thing to the seller. Like they'll actually send the top part
Yes,
to the seller
right.
because this is
The
just land data.
negotiation, right?
Yeah,
This is it,
100%. Like you can see, like, ma'am, this is in
love
30%
that.
wetlands or whatever the number is. Like I can't
Right.
pay that, unfortunately. Don't send the estimated price, please. That's not the best
Love
situation, but the top part's really valuable for that. So you're gonna have your
this.
estimated price per acre. This isn't a very expensive area. It's in the middle of Raleigh, essentially. And then what you're going to have down here are the comps that are affecting the price. Starting with number one. Number one is going to be the most heavily weighted in terms of the price. It was very, you can see this is a what, 3.5 month old, 4 month old comp. Well, this is a little older. This is about the same distance, a little smaller property. And then it takes these, it's not going to be an average. You'll see our numbers right here. The average by county is right here. Average by zip is right here. It is an AI algorithm, a machine learning algorithm that actually takes into a lot of things to create its price estimation.
Wow.
But these are cool. There's actually look at
I,
this, Nick. I don't know if you've seen this. So if you go to reports, so everyone, it was a very again, a lot of this was built from users. And a lot of people were asking, like, can we build our own comp reports? Can we do that? Can we do that? Whatever it is. So if you
mhm.
actually go to market comps here, you can actually kind of customize a comp report here. And it's not going to be AI, but what it's going to be 12.5 acres, 7.5. You can adjust this however. Let's just say we want 8 to like 11 acres. And let's just organize by price per acre. And what I look for here, I look for outliers. Like, okay, let's get rid of these outliers that are 60, 70, 90,000 an acre, and probably here. These are probably our three best comps. And what you can literally do here, as you look through, you can just show on map, and it's going to pull up all three of these comps on the map. So you can actually look at them. You can pull up the MLS details. So this is one of our best comps here, and you can actually see the MLS details for how it sold, everything like that, how long it took to sell, and a couple different ways to actually pull comp reports. That was highly requested in terms of being able to do things more manual.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So you give them the AI basically done for you, or you give them the ability to nerd out and then
Exactly.
locate
Make your own
and
comp report, view them
wow.
on the map, see where they are relative. It's really nice because you scroll over, you can see the price, you see when it sold, everything like that. So you can actually see these comps that are playing a big part into our estimated sale price.
Okay, and then so before we get any nerdier, if you will click the link I just put in the chat, that will pull up. And then we'll kind of talk about a couple of live examples, but I just want everyone to see what exactly is being offered here. What the way I recommend using these two services together, okay, is think about if you're already using me, I include their data in almost all of my packages. Okay, so if you're using me, my advice is that you go with the advanced, what they've discounted by $50 off for the first month. Okay, and then you get 1,000 free leads to export. Now they charge 6 cents per lead to pull the data out of that. But again, with me, you don't have to worry about that. So I would use this tool to go in, use your filters, put all the stuff in there, and then you do the whole filtering. You know there's 2,000 records. Then send me an email with your exact filters. We use the same software. I'll duplicate the same filters for you. It's already included. You get everything without having to pay that 6 cents. It comes included with my service. And I just think that that is a really cool way. Then we still have this for comps. We have this for market research. They have a feature coming out that's going to give you Google Street View. So you'll actually be able to walk the property digitally, right? Which is amazing. So I tell all my clients go for the advanced, okay, but get the data from me. And that way you totally get the best of both worlds as
I
well.
agree. Yeah, it's natural in terms of like you're getting the data from here and you need something, Nick, to be able to comp land. Like when you are getting
Yes.
deals, when you're getting them leads, like you need some way to comp land. And I told Nick before this, I haven't shown anyone else. This is coming out on Thursday. If you guys are on Land Portal right now, if you guys are a current user, so we actually have Google Maps overlay. So if you look back here, this is a different map overlay. Pretty much, this is a very similar map to what everyone else has. what you're going to have starting on Thursday, you'll have actual Google Maps connected to here. You actually get to, Nick, is you get you'll get markers too for nearby stuff. So you actually have overlays of markers. Then you can, just like you're on Google Earth, you can drop your little person in and do some due diligence from the street. No clue where we are right now. But this is something that is just another thing to like just stay on the software. You don't have to click KML, go to Google Earth, whatever it is.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, very cool. All right. Now what I want to talk about is exactly how we use this in my land investing business. So guys, that was the software. That is how we use it. But I want to tell you guys exactly how I hear this all the time too. And so I actually push a lot of clients to Land Portal solely for the comps. Okay. Now in my business, I actually have an entire workflow. I'll even share it with you guys. Check this out. Things are about to get really ninja. So, um, just to show you how ingrained we are in this. So I'm going to do a share. That's me watching us in the background. I do everything in workflows. Okay. Now I have this real estate investing company, my own, and I have this workflow that I use. Okay. I'll actually export this and I'll send this to all of you that are here today. Let me just do that right now. I'm going to put a link in the chat that will get you guys access. This is every workflow in my real estate business. Okay. Comment. I'm going to put this in the chat. Okay. Now just click on that, but watch what I'm doing. Don't look at that yet because I already got it right here. Okay. So just to show you guys how I ingrain this into my business. So they're called the land portal and they give us an estimate. I call that the TLPE report. Okay. That's the land portal estimate comp report. Okay. So when I work with my acquisition managers, whenever the first call, I'm just going to walk you guys through the first couple steps because this is really what's important. This is where rubber meets the road now. Now, how do we use what he just showed us to make money? Okay. That's really what we have to do now. So we've got lead comes in, make the first call. All right. This is rapport building and due diligence. I have them take great notes. What's the rapport like? Were there any improvements? Did all the callers' questions get answered? What's their reason for selling? What do they want to do with the money? What's their timeline to sell? Have they sold any property before? One question I love asking landowners is, have you ever sold a piece of land before? And no matter what they say, great. Well, look, I've got a ton of experience in this and I'm very transparent. So I'm going to help walk you through this process. When we're dealing with customers or clients or people, we want to always be providing a level of comfort. We always want to be providing a level of security. So I like to, hey, have you ever sold a property before? Because they might be intimidated if they haven't. And it's important for you to know so you can then work with their timidness if that is occurring. ARV, and then I like to ask this question here. This is like a little freebie question. If we end up agreeing on a price that you're satisfied with, the next step would be signing an official offer. Would you be open to doing that? That is a unique closer line, right? To say, hey, I'm down to jump through all these hoops with you and do all this other stuff. But if we do all that and we get to a good spot, are you cool moving to the next step? Or you're kind of like saying, hey, are you a tire kicker? In a kind of another way. Then it comes time to comp. So we plug the numbers into Land Portal. They make it really easy. You could use the APN or the address or anything. And then I have my team give me these numbers. So in our CRM, I have them put these notes. What was the comp value? What was the TLPE value? Okay. What is the ARV value? What are the estimated repairs or improvements we have to make? And then what is their price? And then what's our estimated profit? We haven't even made an offer yet, but this is how we create our offer. So with the land portal, what our rule is with land is we take the estimated price, the TLPE, and I want to offer anywhere from 40 to 60% of that on my first offer. That's my first goal. But I have my team plug all these numbers into the notes section of our CRM. So I now, as the owner, can get a clear view. All right. So see, this says set to make offer at 40, 60% based off the estimate. That's actually the TLPE, not the ARV. And then the other thing I do is I all of us have to agree that this is the offer we're going to make. I don't want any acquisition managers running rogue and just running with it. No, put in the data. We'll come up with an offer together to make to the seller, and then we will make the offer. Now, if they request the offer now, right? A lot of sellers try to do that. They try to choke us out or, pin us down. Hey, we haven't finished doing our research just yet. And then one line I like to do is maybe if we want to price anchor a little bit, but in this neighborhood, where we can generally pay up to $35,000. Like I like to use some kind of language like that. It's not a bit, it's actually a kind of a low number. And what we're doing here is we're gauging for their response. What is their emotional response? Uh, oh, whatever sounds or words they say after that's really important. Okay. If it sounds like it's too low, we need to massage that. If it sounds like they're happy with that, hey, we might be on to something here. But we can use this to flush it out. All right. But I just wanted to cover this with you guys because this is exactly how I run my business utilizing the report he just gave you. And I make my team report it in the notes and then we set the offer up. It's a really cool system. And to his point, he said it earlier, with land, you got to have comps. There's no Zillow. We all know the Zestimate isn't accurate anyways. But if you're lazy, it's good enough. Okay. Like, let's be honest, right? Now, with this, you actually get real comps. You can feel good about it. Like you just saw, you could research it individually. You could then use that research to then negotiate with the seller, right? These are some of the perks of using this as opposed, and again, Zillow doesn't even exist for land, but if it did, it would do such a disservice to the opportunities that this gives you as well.
That's really cool. That's cool to see, Nick. I like how you built that out.
Yeah, no, it is cool. Yeah, well, that's why I, love this so much because I use it and man, it works. Guys, now's a great time for questions here. What do you guys think about the software? What do you guys think about the processes? Do you have any questions about how we do or what we do, anything like that? And Carla, you're very welcome. Yeah, thank you guys all for making it today.
I have a question
Yeah.
about a non-disclosure state. So I'm working for either a non-disclosure state.
Okay.
Will the dollar amount of solds show up?
No, so it'll be the same as like you look on public sites. It'll be the last listing price is essentially what it is. We did a study on our team did a study on like how much does the price vary in terms of so when I'm talking about the estimate, we did a study on like, okay, does it matter how long things were on the market before they sold in non-disclosure states? So we tried it for our estimate, like our estimate is still really accurate in there, but there is not sold data in there. With that being, it's behind essentially the MLS wall.
Got it. So the number you guys would provide would be the number it was listed for.
Last list price. So if it changes prices at any point, it's going to be the price it went under or price it was listed for when it went under contract when it sold.
What if it's long-term hold and it hasn't been sold? Oh, you're talking about the comps that did sell.
The ones that did sell, yes, ma'am.
Is there a limit of searches we can do?
No.
Okay, cool.
No problem. Good question.
Co asked if I were to go back and make calls on the Excel sheets that I gave him. So we've already pulled data for Co. Okay. And then are they marked DND or DNC? This is a very common question I've got. I said no, and I would just call those guys anyways. Okay. The thing about the DNC is it's not really as intimidating as you might think it is, and here's why. It's not up to date. It really, I think about how the DNC works. Supposedly you have to re-enroll every year manually yourself. You actually have to resubscribe every year. Okay. My mom, I looked at my mom. My mom's on the DNC. I said, Mom, you on the DNC? She goes, I don't know what that is. I was like, the do not call list. Don't know what it is, Nick. Okay, got it. Right. And so as soon as you see a couple of these discrepancies, what I like to do is I ignore the flags that everyone gives me. If they go, oh, well, this is on the DNC, whatever, I'll call them. They'll tell me they're on the DNC list if they're on the DNC list. Okay, that's number one. And if they do, we respect that person. At lead mining, we have our own internal DNC meter that we mark people off onto. But until they tell us themselves, we call them, and we're very polite. If we call someone on the DNC, I would write this down if I were you guys. But we say, "Oh my God, I am so sorry. I must have an incorrect number. I will make sure we never ever call you again." And then you know what the trick is? You really need to never call them again, right? Like, and so I just want to share my advice is not to disrespect the DNC list. My advice is to hear it myself from the seller that they're on there because I've seen so much incorrect data over the years. Why scrub off 50% of your list? That's the other part. If you guys ever do use a DNC scrub, you'll lose 50% of your list. Well, if I interview people on the street, if they've even heard of it, let alone were on it, less than 10% would tell me that they've heard of it because they're not in our world, only we are. But so those numbers, so I kind of ignore any previous flags. Terry was asking what filter should he use if when looking for infill lots? Would it still be? He said he missed the first half or a couple of
Yeah,
things.
landlocked. So for land stuff, so obviously vacant lots, landlocked. You do something with buildability. Like I would definitely do like it's at least 80% buildable. Wetlands, floodplain. A lot of info lot people are doing deals in Florida. Make sure you're using the wetlands and floodplain. Those are the C that I see the most effective.
Buildability 80% plus.
Maximum buildability. Yeah, correct.
Okay, got it. I just wrote those down and I put them in the chat for you here. And then, everything else is the same. There is some fundamentals that never change, right? Whether that's livable square footage or years of ownership or anything like that. I mean, you could do 2 years or greater of ownership. I would never do less than 2 years personally. I like three or more, is how I do it. But that, and then maybe excluding corporate owned, I would kind of keep those filters the same. But on top of those, I would stack those.
Yep.
I think they do have tax delinquent. KB asked if if you have tax delinquent code violations or tear downs.
Yeah, so you see, if you go to advanced filters, KB, you'll see
Can you
delinquent.
can you screen share for us?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
And again, I'm not a tax delinquent person. I have confidence in the data. But if you scroll down to the bottom, I'm not going to be able to click it right now because I don't have location filters on because I didn't put anything in. But here you can see delinquent year, and then this will be delinquency, yes or
Oh,
no.
delinquent year. That's great. That's
Yep.
great. Because the one thing about tax delinquent, if a lot of people don't know, is they're not always actively delinquent, but they were at some point, is what tax delinquent records mean
Lean
for the most
information
part.
here as well.
Very cool. That's a lot. And how'd you get there? Oh, advanced filters on the left, right?
Advanced filters right here. Yep.
Got
Yes,
it.
sir.
Wow. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. We have another question from, you're very welcome, KB. Thanks for making it on today, man. Kyle, hey, Ron, is there a way to use the market comp section with just the county or zip code without entering a specific parcel number? That's a good question.
So you can do, let me see. No, I mean no, to answer your question. So what you would do is just find if you have something in a certain zip code, I would just type in Adams County. I would just find the parcel within there. But you can adjust once you get in there, you can adjust the acreage or anything in there. That's a good point though. Let me write that down.
This is the beauty of having the owner here.
I know. I'm like, all right, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Custom market comps. Yep.
Well, it might be good here. So even though right here it says
Actually,
search
here, I'm
by,
sorry, we can do that. So let me go. Sorry, Nick.
no, no, you're
So if
good.
you go here on the Drody, this is kind of like a market research, but it can actually do exactly what we're talking about. So if we search here, we have zip code, and you'll actually see count. here. So this will actually show us the market comps within here. So what you would do, okay, so yeah, you can do exactly what you're talking about. It would just be from this drill deep section, which is more of a market research, which is kind of what you're talking about, I think, Kyle. So you go whatever state, the county, find the zip code, or you can do it from the county and you can click the count. And that's going to be all land, basically. That's what this would be. You can change your filter based up here, essentially. So yeah, you can do that.
Awesome. And thank you so much for that. And another question here. Would land portal work for land entitlement? Uh, it depends, I
What
guess,
state, what step of it? Like it definitely can work for finding the deals. We have a ton of people who
identifying.
are doing project-based things, whether it's looking for certain zoning, whether it's looking for, but there's a lot of different pieces to entitling a piece of land,
Right. Yeah, I'd say locating the property.
for
Absolutely.
sure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So yeah, I'd say definitely for signaling to us to pull it for you to then entitle it or split it up. What filters would work for finding double lots?
What do you mean by double lots? Like an owner owns both of them, Terry?
Yeah, maybe side by side.
Hmm.
Is there a way to do that? It's a great question.
Yeah, I feel like I've had that question before. Not exactly. So you can actually find, so you can filter by owners. Yeah. So you can filter by, let me go back. You can filter by the amount of properties an owner owns. Where is that? But not actually just double lots. So right here, you'll see owner property count where you can filter like, okay, maybe I only want people that own three or more lots, whatever it is. There's a lot of people that going after portfolio owners can be really effective. But as far as just saying I want them to be double lots, you cannot currently do that.
And then another question, Rock, I might need to have you re-ask this. Oh, show actual sold. Is that what you meant? Does Land Portal show actual sold to see if there's good demand? So another question is how would, and this will be our last question before we got to jet, guys. But how would we find out if a market is a good market?
Yeah, so if you want to see things that are selling, so right now I went to market research on the left. Um, And if you go to heat map here, and we can go by, there's a lot of different things you can filter by. So you could go, let's just go days on market real fast. So this can be last 12 months, all land data, and then you'll see green. And as you zoom in, we were in, let's see, where is that? We're in Wake County. Wake County's right around here somewhere. Where is that? Wake County's right here. So we click in Wake County where we just were. Not sure what just happened there. It's like it's loading. Wake County, you can actually see all the data within here. You could just look at the data within the table, but within here you can see
Wow.
all. So let's just go 2 to 5 acres, last 12 months, 48 properties that have sold in this acreage range, and you can see all the properties within Wake County that fit that criteria. But people use the map a lot, the heat map for finding properties or the drill deep section. There's a lot of stuff to go over, Nick, where we could go down a big
Yeah.
rabbit hole.
No, but this is huge, and I think that's what people are starting. Like, I mean, every time there's like a cool tool you're like pulling out of your bag here, you know, which is just amazing. I love this software, guys. I love working with Ron and his brother. You see, they're open to feedback. Again, we're just trying to make it the best. Same with lead mining. One of the reasons we became so good so fast. I mean, that was 9 years ago, but was because I spoke to every client you know, and then I took responsibility, and it's like I always tell people like if you see something, call me up. I'll either explain it, what's happening, or I'll fix it, you know, and that's really one of the big perks. So, the same goes working with us. You guys have suggestions. You can let them know and don't be surprised. I mean, like you said, they double digit developers, and I think you can see that. I don't know if you're already a client of theirs, you're already getting the emails, but probably once a week, you guys are sending me an email about feature updates or improving the software. I mean, it really is awesome. What's going on over there. But Ron, thank you so much for being here today.
Yep.
This was awesome. It was like a master class in what it's like to work with Land Portal and lead mining. And then guys, check out leadminingpros.com. If you need anything, my cell phone number is on the website. If you guys want to call me spontaneously today, my day ends at 4 p.m. Eastern. So call me anytime after 4 p.m. if you need me. And we'll see you next Tuesday.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Nick. Thanks for having me on.
See you, brother.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you everyone so much for being here. I'll see you guys.